I say the question again?
Yeah.
First question. Guess what mushrooms are? There are two very deadly mushrooms. They kill you. Yes, you might be allergic to mushrooms. Can I do that question again? Eat the mushroom directly. They do not need sunlight. Yeah, mushrooms are really good for you, is what I would have to say. Hi everyone, my name is Prithvi. I'm a fungi enthusiast, a mushroom lover, a fungal ally, and I'm also the owner of a brand called Nuvedo. Today on Answered, I will be busting some myths and answering some of the most commonly asked questions surrounding fungi in India. So first question, are mushrooms veg or non-veg? Humans are veg and non-veg, but mushrooms come under the class of kingdom called fungi, which are separate from plants and animals. Non-veg comes under animals, and fungi are a totally different kingdom by themselves. I guess the choice is yours, whether you want to call it veg or non-veg, but most parts of the world and a lot of parts of India, mushrooms are considered vegetarian. If mushroom is vegetarian, why does it taste like chicken? Okay, interesting fact, mushrooms have a very high fiber content, and this fiber content comes from a compound called chitin. Chitin provides this chewy-like texture to the mushroom, which is sort of similar to chicken, but also the taste that you get comes from the fifth flavor, which is called umami. There's sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. And the fifth is umami, which is caused by glutamate. So it's the glutamate flavor and the chewy texture caused by chitin, which resembles something very close to chicken. But guess what mushrooms are? Yeah, it's vegetarian 100%, but it tastes like chicken. Kukurmuta is the name in Hindi, which means dogs pee. Do mushrooms actually grow where the dogs pee? Firstly, mushrooms are cultivated in very clean and hygienic places. The name Kukurmuta could have been possibly derived from where mushrooms grow in nature, where it could be dark, damp, moist areas where there's decomposing organic matter, and possibly where a dog pees. So this is my hypothesis, but that doesn't mean that all mushrooms grow there and it has the association. Let's clear that out. Can mushrooms only be grown in the dark? Well, mushrooms do not require sunlight to grow. They do not need a natural source of light. They need a trigger of light that allows them to know the outside, but that's about it. They do not need sunlight, and they can be grown anywhere which has good ventilation and yeah, pretty much a surface. So grow mushrooms at home. Are all mushrooms poisonous? No, only 2% of mushrooms are toxic and poisonous. In fact, a lot of mushrooms are medicinal and have a lot of different bioactive compounds that can do wonderful things for you. So not all mushrooms are poisonous. It's like asking a question, are all plants edible and safe to eat? Are colorful mushrooms more likely to be toxic? Absolutely not. There is no golden rule again surrounding identification of mushrooms. In fact, there are two very deadly mushrooms, which is called the death cap and the destroying angel, both which are white in color and they kill you. But there are mushrooms that are very brightly colored, like the cordyceps mushroom and the reishi mushroom, which is brown, which are extremely medicinal mushrooms and have amazing health benefits for you. So let's not put a blanket rule on colors and mushrooms. If you boil a mushroom in haldi and it turns black, is it toxic? There are many myths, there are many stories, but the best way to identify a mushroom is by looking at the cap, looking at the gills, looking at the stipe, looking on where it grows, seeing the color of the spores. This is essentially what creates the identification from toxicity to not, and not by boiling in haldi or creating any of these other preparations. Are foraged mushrooms better than cultivated mushrooms? So there's two ways to look at this. There is safety and then there's potency. Mushrooms have the ability to absorb a lot of toxic chemicals in their environment or absorb anything that is around them. They act like a sponge, which essentially means that wherever they're growing, they tend to absorb those different nutrients within that environment. You know that foraged mushrooms could grow in any environment. You're not sure of where it is. So in terms of safety and consistency within your body and being able to digest it, cultivated mushrooms serve as a much better purpose. But in terms of potency, it can swing both ways. So you're kind of taking a risk there. There's nothing that one is better than the other. But to to create safety, consistency while consuming the mushroom, it's better to have cultivated mushrooms over wild foraged mushrooms. I saw a squirrel eat a mushroom. Is it safe for humans to eat the same type of mushroom? Absolutely not. A lot of the different animals, including squirrels, have certain digestive enzymes that can break down certain compounds that we cannot. So there is no golden rule that if you see a squirrel or an animal or a bison or any creature eat a mushroom, that we can consume it. So please identify your mushrooms, know that it is edible, and then eat it. Is it safe to touch mushrooms growing in the wild? All mushrooms and fungi are safe to touch. You only have an issue once they reach your digestive tract. In fact, many expert foragers as well, they take a small piece of the mushroom onto their tongue and to figure out what is identifiable or not, and then they spit it out. So remember, all mushrooms are safe to touch. You must not be scared of touching a mushroom. So if mushrooms help decompose dead things, can they really be healthy? Well, mushrooms are essentially chemical masterminds. They're nature's recyclers, they're decomposers, and they have the ability to transform these dead and decaying organic matter into very healthy superfoods and very potent bioactive molecules. It's like if you think about a chef who uses raw ingredients and makes a very nutritious meal. Well, you can't necessarily have those raw ingredients, but they finally contribute into a potent mix of very healthy, nutritious food. If mushrooms are fungi, does that mean eating mushrooms could lead to fungal infections? Well, to answer this, there are different kinds of fungi present in nature. There are some fungi that cause fungal infections like Candida, Aspergillus, and there are some fungi that produce mushrooms like Basidiomyces. So there are different mushrooms that cause fungal infections, but that doesn't mean that eating mushrooms, which are a different class of fungi, cause the same infections. It's like there are different kinds of bacteria that are out there in the world. There are some bacteria present in your yogurt, which is really good for your gut, and there are some bacteria that cause problems in your human body. So when you understand fungi, you have to understand it like a large kingdom which has different kinds of different fungi. Some fungi produce mushrooms which are really good for you. Some fungi could create infections. How can we use mushrooms in Indian cuisine? Personally, I just like to stir fry it with just salt and pepper, but I have noticed that a lot of different ways to use mushrooms are predominantly with stuffing. So if you think of samosas, cutlets, puffs. The second way is smoking. There are a lot of tribal communities that in Meghalaya, in Madhya Pradesh, that smoke the mushrooms to give it the stronger umami. And the third way that a lot of people use is very mild spices. So not adding tons of masala, but just whole spices with chili or full peppercorns and kind of just letting that roast and stir frying it is some of the best ways to really get out the umami in the mushroom. Another way to really use mushrooms is as a meat substitute. We've seen a lot of new recipes coming out with jackfruit and mushrooms blended together. Can mushrooms help with diabetes? Yes, they have a very high fiber content, they have a very low glycemic index, and they have a bunch of different polysaccharides and beta-glucans that can actually help with your diabetes, keeping you less hungry, keeping you more efficient with digesting your food. So yeah, mushrooms are really good for you. But as usual, please check with your physician before consuming any of it if you are a diabetic. What's the best way to clean mushrooms before consumption? Well, you don't have to use turmeric or any of those things to clean the mushrooms. The best way to clean a mushroom is gently rinse it under water, pat it dry because mushrooms are like a sponge, they absorb water and then they change the texture. Make sure you can use a knife to clean off any dirt that might be residues there, and that's about it. Do not soak your mushrooms in water. They change the texture and they completely make it very difficult to cook them. How do I include mushrooms in my daily routine? Well, there are many ways. There are ways to eat the mushroom directly. The second way, in case you don't like the texture, you're not very comfortable with the taste, is by including functional mushrooms in your diet as extract. So you're getting the benefits of the mushrooms but not necessarily having to consume them. So mushrooms can be included in various ways. Is it possible to be allergic to mushrooms? Yes. Just like you could be allergic to a plant or you could be allergic to a certain type of meat. Yes, you might be allergic to mushrooms, and a lot of times people are also allergic to the way mushrooms are cultivated. So you might not be allergic to the mushroom, but you might be allergic to the chemicals that are put on the mushroom. So make sure that you source organic, chemical-free mushrooms. And remember, mushrooms are like a sponge. They will absorb all the chemicals that are put on it, and you cannot just wash them away. Had a really fun time with the fun guys here at Answered, answering the questions about fungi and mushrooms and demystifying the world. If you want to know more, heal from mushrooms, grow mushrooms, or even eat them, come check us out at Nuvedo.